Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Hangout with Maria. I'm Maria Kritikos, and I'm the founder of the Ladies Who Lunch Network, which we like to affectionately call LWL. Of course, because it stands for Ladies Who Lunch, but also because it signifies living a life without limits, which is really the motto of this network. And today I have an amazing guest, Christy Brown, who is also a member of the Ladies Who Lunch Network. For those of you that don't know anything about LWL, really briefly, we are an international women's networking group, and we help each other live out our dream, whatever that may look like. We inspire each other, we support each other, and we do trainings like this. And I hear an echo. Do you hear?
No, I don't hear one.
Okay, then we're good. Or Christy, maybe do you have earbuds as well?
I don't. Let me see. I'm on a desktop, so
that's okay. No, not to worry. It's all good. So Blab is new. It's a new platform, and we are trying it out. It's very interactive. It's fun, and it can reach a large number of people, which is great. So good way to get your message out, and good way to interact with the members of the network. So the mission, my mission behind creating LWL, is to show women how truly powerful they are, not only as individuals, but collectively when we come together and see what's possible for ourselves. LWO is a place where we can interact, both live events and an online platform as well. The values of the community are freedom, independence, authentic self-expression, and contribution. So to learn more about LWL, please visit ladieswholunchnetwork.com. Today we are showcasing and highlighting one of our members, Christy Brown. And Christy is, she lives in Florida. She's going to tell us a little bit about that. I live in Vancouver. And so just a testament to the reach of our network. We have members from all over the world, and it's a global community. And technology like this allows us to connect, which is really amazing. So Christy has had an amazing career. She has worked with companies like Living Social, I'm sure you've all heard of them, Groupon, of course, Clear Channel Radio, and Walt Disney companies. She understands how to create campaigns that will drive results, which is what we all want, essentially when we're trying to gain exposure for our business, right? We don't want to be wasting our time. We want it to make a difference. So she understands how to do this. She has worked with and coaches over 100 startups and has watched them go from an idea to reality. And I love how you use that wording, idea to reality, because we talk a lot about it in the network. Her belief is that people start their own businesses because there is something better and bigger out there. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Her strategies and techniques have helped people build businesses that they love, which is also the motto of the network. We really want to show women that, yes, it is possible to create a business you love. Yes, you can make money doing what you love. And today we're going to talk a little bit about that, particularly with how to use Pinterest to do that. Her strategies and techniques have helped people build businesses that they love. I said that. Her creative approach to social media marketing produces massive results without being a time waster or a frustration. I think a lot of people in this day and age are very maybe disillusioned with social media. It can be very overwhelming. A lot of women tell me, Maria, I have no idea where to start. I don't know what platform I should be on. I don't know what I should be posting. I don't know how many times I should be posting. It really, it just drives me crazy. Christy's going to help us with that today. Her passion is teaching others how to create success and freedom they desire in their lives to grow their businesses into something that far exceeds their expectations. And Christy gives her clients actionable steps, which I love. And today we're going to share, you're going to have three main takeaways from this blab today. She shows how to manage all things techie, which I love. And so that her clients can stay focused, accomplish their goals, and grow their businesses without feeling overwhelmed. Because I think the number one problem for entrepreneurs is that sense of overwhelm. They don't know where to start. There's so much information out there. And at the end of the day, there's something called paralysis through analysis. There's too much, and then we just say, I don't know where to start, so I'm not going to do anything. We don't want that to happen. So today we are talking about Pinterest, and the three things that we're going to be learning today is, number one, why Pinterest is a powerful tool to grow your business, and how easy it is to use to gain visibility, and to gain it actually quite quickly. And Christy's going to talk to us a little bit about how to do that. Number two, you will understand how to get amazing results using Pinterest to grow your email list. We talk a lot about this. We had an event on Wednesday at Hootsuite headquarters here in Vancouver, where we talked about social media. And social media is amazing, but the goal really should be to build your email list, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And finally, you will discover how to connect with influencers in your space and your area of expertise. And then we are going to open it up to a Q&A. And if any of you have any questions for me or Christy, we are happy to answer them. So Christy, welcome. I'm going to say good morning, but it's not good morning where you are, right?
So no, it's not, but that's okay. It's close enough.
Where are you? Tell us where you're from.
So I am right outside of Orlando in Florida, where it is like 64 degrees today, I think. So the rest of North America is not a big fan of Florida right now as the snowstorms come through.
Yes, and here it is raining in Vancouver, as always. So, Christy, today we're going to talk about Pinterest, but what do you love about Pinterest? Let's start there.
I like Pinterest because it's pretty. And I know that sounds very superficial, but when you're on Facebook and Twitter and some of these other platforms all the time, as a woman, I love to be able to look at the colors and the beauty that Pinterest provides. It's kind of a break from all of the other platforms, if that makes sense. That's probably my favorite thing, is that it feels much more fun and inviting and not quite so work related.
Yes, I love that you said that. What percentage of users are female on Pinterest? Do you know roughly?
Right above 70%. So last time I looked at the numbers, about 71% were all female.
70% of users are female, yes. It is a very pretty platform. You can spend hours on it, literally, right?
Yeah, definitely get lost on there. That's why people are like, well, I use it for recipes, and I'm not really sure what to do with it for business. So that's always the challenge, is to not get distracted.
Absolutely. So let's talk about using Pinterest for business, because that's what we're here to do today. So give us your number one tip, or where do we start? I don't know a lot about Pinterest. I think I reserved a name, but I don't use it. So I'll be honest, I don't use it. And I guess my other question is, what kinds of businesses can use Pinterest? And should we all be using Pinterest, depending on our business?
Sure. So I believe that with anything that you do in social media, it all depends on who you're trying to target. So certainly if you're trying to target females of any kind, I think if that is your main goal for any type of business, from a plumber to a photographer, that you can be on Pinterest. I also think that the reason why you want to be on Pinterest is twofold. One is that, like I said, it's a completely different platform. So that enables you to get in front of people and share a message in a different way than just text or video, those different things. You have a couple different options available to you. I also think that the reason why I think just about everybody should be on Pinterest, unless you only target men, Pinterest may not be the best use of your time in that case. But if women are part of your target market, that you should be on Pinterest. And the first step is to set up a business account. And a lot of people are confused if they have a personal or a business account. It's real easy to tell. All you have to do is log in and click on the little circle that is should be your face if it's a personal profile, click on the little circle that's your profile picture. And if you click on that and go into your profile and all it has is your name and there's no website or a description, then you have a personal profile. If there is a place for a URL and a little bit of a description below the name, then that is a business account, whether it's set up that way or not. You can also tell, because when you first log in, over on the left side, there is a place for analytics and ads, and that also only shows up if you have a business account. So both of those things are the way that you can tell, and people are really confused because you can actually convert your personal account to a business account, or you can actually open your own business account. And there's advantages to doing both, but that's the first step. So make sure you have a business account and that your information and your website are in the description there on your profile.
Excellent. So first step, make sure you have a business account. what would the next step be? What is our whole point with Pinterest? Like, of course, it's a beautiful platform. Yes, we want to reach the female audience. Depending on our business, what should our main goal be with it?
Well, again, it's twofold. Always growing your email list. So it's very important that you have your website in there. There is a specific spot for a URL. It's the only spot that will be clickable. So make sure that's where you put your website address. People mess that up a lot. And the other thing to think about is coming up with a name that's not necessarily your business name. And the reason why I suggest that is because it's searchable. So when people go on, for example, I deal with social media and business coaching. So my Pinterest account is social media for small business, because people can then log in and search social media or small business, and my account's going to pop up, where my business name under the same search would not necessarily pop up. So being a little bit creative, also putting that description that's kind of fun to come up with something that's short and concise. But again, it's also searchable. So you want to think about the way that people would relate to your business if they were searching to find what you do. So if they're looking for a ladies networking group, they might look for Ladies Who Lunch. So having that description in there, not necessarily just your company name, is super important, so that you can begin to build followers and people that will find you and see you as an expert in that space. So that's kind of part of number one, I guess. Number two is to actually start following people who are part of your industry, people who maybe will be influencers, but maybe just people that, like blog all the time or have a lot of information to share. Maybe they have a lot of followers on Pinterest. But the idea with all social networking is to be social. I know that's kind of ironic, but a lot of people aren't. They kind of expect if they set up their account, they're going to automatically get followers and people that are interested, and that's not really the way it works. So what I tell people is, starting out, to begin to follow other people and repin what they have posted that applies to your audience. To do that, you have to create boards, which is kind of confusing if you've never been on Pinterest, but if you are familiar with the platform, you want to create boards, and you want about 70% of them to not have anything to do with your business directly. Because again, this is about being social, and it's women. So you're going to find a lot more followers when you pin healthy recipes for kids that are picky than you are going to be to find people that are necessarily relating to your blog at that moment in time. So having a good mix of things that women are interested in, beauty and fashion and parenting and recipes, those kinds of things are always applicable, because you're going to get more people to your page that way. And what happens is, most of the time when they click to follow you, they're going to follow all of your boards. My doorbell's going off. Can you guys hear that? Inevitably, technology. So that's one of the things I get asked a lot. Same thing on other social platforms, is people seem to think that they can only talk about their business and what they do on their business, and that's actually not true. The idea is to build relationships, and you're a multidimensional person, so it's perfectly okay to have your dream trip as a board on your business Pinterest account, because it's something people can relate to, and they'll follow that, and then they'll also see when you pin stuff about your business. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Is that sort of like the curated content? You want to share other people's content, not just promoting all your own stuff, right?
It is, and that's what Pinterest is all about. So Pinterest is basically, the concept is, the old school cork boards. I have one behind me here. And that's kind of like, I love this, and I love this, and I love this, and oh, I like what you have, so I'll take that and put that over here. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the point. And most of the time when businesses get on there, they basically just talk about themselves. And they do this on all social media platforms, and it's wrong on all social media platforms, but specifically Pinterest, because it's supposed to be basically a collaboration about things that you love. That's the whole idea.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Let's go back to talking about growing your email list, which is very important. Can you give us an example of maybe one kind of business and maybe one way that you can grow your email list through Pinterest?
Sure. So with Pinterest, the key is that when you pin something that is about your business, that you, first of all, make sure that it links back to your site. So when you click the literally it's a plus button. I confuse people somehow when I say this. It's actually a plus sign when you go to pin something new. And if you have a website and you have a blog, or you're inviting somebody to a blab and you want to invite people and pin that, you want to make sure that the link that goes in there that you're going to pick to pin from a website, and that it actually pins your website. Okay. So what happens then is there's going to be a visual that it pulls from your website. So if you have an image in your blog or an image on your website, it's going to let you pick which image you would like to have posted. And then you're going to have to come up with a little bit of a description. So I go through that because 2 reasons. One, when you do have a lead page or an opt-in that you've created, which is a free report that you give out to people to grow your email list or video or whatever it is, whatever your freebie is to entice people, you want to make sure that link is there. It's a big thing that I've seen people do is actually pin their image and it doesn't link to anything. So you're not going to grow your email list that way.
Exactly.
I talked to a few women that are like, well, I'm all over Pinterest, and then I'll go to their board and it doesn't actually go to anything. It just makes the image bigger. That's a big mistake I see. So what you do is when you create those opt-ins or those reports, you always have a graphic that you've created for them. You actually will pin that and make sure that the URL goes to your lead capture page or your lead page, whatever you want to call it, the page that only allows them to put in their email address and name. And what happens is if it's something that appeals to the target audience on Pinterest, people will click on that the way that you do for anything on Pinterest to get to the website is you double click on it and it actually opens up the browser page and shows you the information there. So if it's text or video or whatever, well, you can do the same thing with your lead page, and you can have the link there with the image, and then when they go to the page in order to get whatever it is they want, they have to put in their email address. It actually does really well if you have an opt-in that's targeted to women, obviously because that's the biggest audience on Pinterest. So I was able to grow one of my clients' email list to about 2,200 in 30 days on Pinterest without any ads. So just with the different boards and staying. So that's a huge number to be able to do for free, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Amazing. So if I'm understanding correctly, again, you are driving people back to your website and getting them to opt in to your freebie, to your lead magnet, to whatever it is that you are giving away that is of value in exchange for their email address.
That's right. But the only thing I would say is if you have a standalone lead page or landing page to capture that opt-in, you want to use that URL and not the URL to your website, because just like anything else, people are going to get distracted. So if your goal is to grow your email list, you want to send them to that standalone page and not a page where they can go see all your blog posts or your videos or your images and that kind of stuff. You'll get I've tested it both ways, and you'll get much higher opt-in rates if you actually send them to your lead page versus your website.
Right. So you're asking them to do something very specific. You don't want to distract them.
Yeah. Right. People love shiny things. We don't want them to get distracted.
Especially on Pinterest, right?
Right. Very easy, yes.
So, the other day when we had our live social media conference at Hootsuite, we talked about the do's and don'ts of the different platforms and really the do's and don'ts of social media in general. But maybe we can talk about like what are some of the do's on Pinterest and what are some of the definitely don't do that on Pinterest for those of us that don't know much about the platform.
Sure. Well, just like I said, like on any social media platform, probably the biggest thing that I see businesses doing is only talking about themselves. So I always paint this picture that all of us have been to a networking event. And when you only talk about yourselves, it's equivalent to like putting a box upside down in the middle of the room and standing on it and telling everybody they need to buy from you. That's what people want to do on social media. That's always wrong. So on Pinterest, the big thing is like I said, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is only having boards that pertain to their business. So for example, I have a client that makes a product that protects against radiation from your laptop or your cell phone. And on Pinterest, all of his boards talk about how radiation is killing us. And he doesn't understand why he doesn't have any followers on his Pinterest board. So the idea there would be to make sure that he can talk about health and wellness. He can talk about family health. He could also talk about recipes because all of that kind of falls into that category. But he can also talk about travel. We're talking about mobile devices. Like not everything has to have a direct link back to the business, but you can get a little bit creative and kind of tie it back in if you want to. But that's the big thing that I see a lot of people do. The other thing is just complete inconsistency. I'm really big on having a strategy to make sure that you're in front of people consistently. And it seems like the other platforms, people are much better about being consistent. On Pinterest, I'll see like where somebody has pinned and then they haven't been online for a month. You tend to lose some momentum when you do that. So it's real important that you know, even if it's just one of your own pins a day and then you repin 5 or 6 pins from other people, you want to make sure that that activity is consistent. I set a timer. I set a timer for all the social media platforms. So I say, okay, 20 minutes, I'm going to repin, I'm going to comment, I'm going to like, I'm going to engage on Pinterest. And in 20 minutes when my timer goes off, I'm going to shut Pinterest and go on to my next task. But that way you don't get lost and you are still, you know, actually scheduling time to be consistent. That's probably the biggest thing that I see people doing.
That's very smart. I like the idea of setting a timer and sticking to it.
Yeah, that's the top part. You're like, I'm right in the middle. I'm like, hold on a minute. Yeah, no, you have to actually do it.
So let's talk about, what else can we talk about? We talked about like getting people onto your email list, getting them back to your website. How can we get like more visibility? How can we grow our business using Pinterest? Whatever you want to share with us. For us newbies.
So there's 2 of my favorite things to do on Pinterest is to find influencers in your field, whatever that might be, and actually go on their boards and engage with them. That doesn't mean sell to them. That means actually participate with their audience and commenting on their boards and their pins on there. Pinterest is still where very few people actually comment. So when you do comment, it stands out, and it's kind of like the first person on the dance floor. If you're the first person to comment, you usually will get a conversation going. And influencers notice that. Just like I tell my clients the same thing. If you have somebody you really like want to interview for something, going to their blog and commenting is something they're going to notice because they're going to get a notification about that. And not doing it as a spammy, salesy thing, but actually trying to interact with them. So I tell people to do that on Pinterest. And the really cool thing about that is you're kind of piggybacking on their audience because, for example, Amy Porterfield would be in my industry. She's a huge following everywhere she is, right? So if I can go to her board about Facebook ads and I can actually offer somebody something where it matters, like I have a little trick that I can share with her audience that maybe she hasn't shared, I'm participating in the conversation, right? I'm not trying to pull her audience away, but magically her audience now knows my name or my company name because I've participated in something where they already were. So it's a great way to begin to get followers for you. And because your name is clickable, so they can then go to your profile after you've made an amazing comment that stunned them and they want to follow you more. But it also allows you to begin to build that brand awareness and that name recognition. So it kind of accomplishes both. And the bonus is most of the time the influencer now is going to recognize who you are because comments are so rare still on Pinterest that it'll be something that they actually get a notification for. So, so you kind of can do all 3 things at once.
I like it. Sounds really good. Pinterest. Oh boy. I don't know. It's another social media platform for me. I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I really wouldn't know what to do with Pinterest. I wouldn't know where to start.
Well, I would say the one tip that I give everybody is find 2 platforms that you love and become an expert in them. If your audience is mostly women, Twitter is probably not for you. If your audience is a little bit older, if it's people that are going to be able to spend $300 to $500, you know, whenever they want to, Instagram's probably not for you. So know who you're trying to target, know who you're trying to get in front of, and then really learn those platforms. Don't try to be everywhere. Especially as a business owner, when we wear so many hats, people tend to think that they need to be everywhere. And what happens is you're kind of everywhere, but you're mediocre. And that's not the idea. The idea is to make a lasting impression. So if Facebook is where you get, you know, the best audience and you enjoy it, then do Facebook. If you hate video, don't do YouTube, so really kind of narrow down the focus. Once you get on Pinterest and start playing around, it's a lot more fun. And once you know, like, okay, if I pin my blog to Pinterest and I make sure that I have a description that people will, when they go on there, are going to be able to search and find, and you start seeing traction and people in traffic going to your site, it starts to get a lot more exciting. But it does take that consistency.
Mm-hmm. Consistency is important. And yes, choosing a social media platform that your audience is on and that you also enjoy being on, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because people really sense that inauthenticity.
Yes. Did you just say that you can pin a blog post to Pinterest?
I did.
Okay. I thought it was just pictures.
So what happens is, so most of us that have blogs are going to create some kind of graphic that goes inside of the blog, right? That's how that works, right? So what happens is when you log into your Pinterest profile, you see up in the right-hand corner, there's a little plus sign. And when you hit that, it's going to say upload a pin or pin from a website.
Okay.
If you take your blog URL, and this is what I always do, so if you take your blog URL and you use that as what you're pinning from a website, then it's going to pull that graphic you've already created for your blog into, so yes, it's still visual, but what will happen is that becomes the little square that you see on Pinterest. When somebody clicks on it now, it opens up your blog. So you get traffic from that graphic. You've already done the work, right? You've already created the graphic for your blog post. All you have to do then is basically cross-promote it, copy the URL, go into Pinterest and say that you want to upload it. You want to upload a pin from a website and put the actual blog URL into the pin that you're pinning, and that image becomes your pin, and anybody that clicks on it goes to your blog post.
I like that. I didn't know that. Very good tip. Thank you. Christy, what is your favorite social media platform to use for you personally? Like, I know you work with a lot of people and it's different for each one of your customer or clients rather, but which one is your favorite?
I like Facebook, but I like Facebook messages. So I actually send a message to each person that connects with me and I ask about them. What do you do? Where are you from? And I've gotten a lot of clients just from starting those conversations. So I'm not big on like going into a bunch of Facebook groups and posting all day long. I'm a lot big on actually having like phone conversations or individual conversations with people. And I find that I tend to get more of that on Facebook than anywhere else. I do get some of that on Twitter, depending, but I would say that my go-to would probably be Facebook and then Pinterest to actually, Pinterest has a ton of sales. So people will actually buy cold off of a pin, up to $200, people that don't know you. So if you can create a great graphic and a great description, people will actually buy right then and there. It's a huge impulse. Site. Yeah, it's like, okay, Facebook is $60 and it's off of a remarketing ad. So it's people that already know you, that are already on your email list, that kind of thing. And that I'm getting a little bit technical there, but basically it's people that know you. It's still, the average sale is about $60. Where on Pinterest, somebody will buy something up to $200 that doesn't even know you.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. What else can we talk about? How did you hear about the Ladies Who Lunch Network?
So I was in another group with it was BAM, right? I think that was
with Amanda. That's right. Yes. So through Facebook. Through Facebook, yeah.
Yeah. So another Facebook group, and she just said that I know that paid Facebook groups, paid networking in general tends to just produce more results than anywhere else. And I say that because you actually are invested, and it's not just time, and it's not people that are not really serious about their business. And I found the amount kind of doesn't really matter. It's just having that little bit of skin in the game. And so when I heard about it, I was like, okay, that sounds like someplace that I need to be. So I think I talked with you before I joined, and I was like, okay, I like this girl. And and I've actually gotten 3 clients from the Ladies Who Lunch since I've joined. So yeah.
You've gotten what? I didn't hear that.
I've gotten 3 clients from out of the Ladies Who Lunch that are
awesome.
That are working.
Good to hear. Bravo. Good to hear, Christy. So I wanted to open it up to any questions that the listeners, we have some people on the line with us live. I don't know if it's called on the line, on the blab. I don't know.
Yes.
So I see Dr. Wendy Dubois. Hello, Dr. Wendy Dubois. Dr. Wendy is one of our member spotlights, and you can check her out, ladieswholunchnetwork.com. If you hit the member spotlight tab, we have 20 members, which we showcase. Dr. Wendy is one of them. Hello, Dr. Wendy. If you have any questions, just go ahead and type it in the chat, and we would be very happy to answer them. And any of you that are listening, if you have any questions about Pinterest, go ahead and type it in right now. So back to LWL. And what we stand for: passion, authenticity, living a life without limits, and contribution, making a difference in any way that we can. We have a question. Kate says, Christy, can you give us a few examples of great Pinterest accounts for business? I would like to say ladies who lunch, but we don't have one yet. Maybe Christy will build one for us.
Probably a couple of brands that have really, really good Pinterest accounts. Lowe's, as in Lowe's, the home improvement store.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and type that in. Wait, no, you type it in, Christy. I don't want to type it in. I don't want to make a mistake. Can you type, or is it just me that can type?
It's not letting me.
Okay, so how do I spell that?
Lowe's.
There we go.
So Lowe's has a really good one. Look specifically for how they tie in their products to giving you good advice. So like they have a grills, as in like a barbecue grill board, and they have a whole bunch of recipes, and then they basically tell you what grill you need to buy from them in order to do those recipes.
In order to make this recipe, you need to buy this in order to make this.
But super, super creative. So it's a great way. Remember, I told you, you can't just be about business. So they give you these recipes, and they don't say come buy from us, but then you're like you get to the bottom, like, oh, okay, this is about grills. So they're really good. Target is actually really good. And they actually color coded their boards, which is really a unique way to approach it. Kind of like their stores are. Marc Jacobs, the clothing line, has a really good Pinterest board, and he does a lot of, and this is just to give people ideas about what to pin. He does a lot of how people feel after they wear his clothes, or when they find a good deal on his clothes, or they, found a beautiful outfit they put together. A lot of coaches, like lifestyle and business coaches, I've told them that same thing, is that you can pin things that explain or that visualize how people feel after they have done business with you. So it doesn't necessarily have to be always back to a blog post or something like that. Like there's a lot of, I provide freedom, and I can train teams for people. So I'm going to talk about travel. And if you really want to go to Tahiti, then we need to get your business set up on systems so that you can have some freedom, right? So there's a lot of little creative ways, but those are probably 3 of my favorites. Oreo actually has a really cool Pinterest board, and so does Chobani Yogurt. And they're just really creative. So those would be some of the big brands that are on Pinterest. I will tell you that only 5% of small businesses are on Pinterest, so it's a huge open market. And 67% of pins come from small business. So what that tells you is consumers are pinning stuff from small business websites, but the small businesses they're pinning from aren't even on Pinterest yet. So they're kind of missing the boat, and it's a huge,
interesting.
Nearly as much competition. What'd you say?
Very interesting. That's a very, very interesting point. So there is a lot of room for you guys if you're not on Pinterest yet. There's a big market there.
And the big brands know it, so they're already there. But the small businesses, really, there's a huge market for that, because most of the pins aren't coming from these huge brands. They're coming from websites like yours and mine, and most of the people that have businesses like yours and mine haven't made it on there yet.
Yeah, I love it, Christy. So if for those of us listening today that would want to learn more about Pinterest and potentially other social media platforms, because I know you help business owners with all of the social media platforms, but particularly if any of the ladies are listening today and they want help with Pinterest, how can we get a hold of you?
You can go to significantly, you got to spell check that, significantlysocial.com. I actually just did an 11-hour Pinterest course. So if you're completely lost and want to know from the very beginning to the end, that is on the site. You'll also see my email on there. So if you have any specific questions or want to set up a specific call with me, you can email me off of that site. So that's significantlysocial.com.
significantlysocial.com. Christy is also a member of the Ladies Who Lunch Network. You can find her in our private Facebook group. And I will also be reposting this blab on hangoutwithmaria.com. And I will include all of Christy's contact information on that site as well. One more question, Christy. Is it a must that your own content have a long format image for Pinterest?
No, it's not. I tend to mix it up a little bit. The long pins do tend to have a little bit longer shelf life, and they get more pins and interaction. But I don't ever assume that you have to do something the same way every time. Having a variety is going to always reach the different people in your audience. So like for me, I don't scroll down to read pins that go on for 12 different screens, but other people really enjoy them. So I would kind of do a mix, but no, it is not necessary that everything that you pin, and I would suggest not to do it that way, so that everything that you pin has the long form format.
Christy, and I'm sorry I forgot to ask you, what is your Pinterest name? Is that what we say? What is your Pinterest name?
Yeah, so you can find me if you search Significantly Social. We're actually going through a rebrand, so it will be Significantly Successful, but right now it's still Significantly Social, and you should be able to find me there.
Wait,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'll actually, Maria, I will send you the URL so you can just post it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, send it to me. There we go, Dr. Wendy. Significantly Social, which is changing to Significantly Successful?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I have too many Pinterest accounts. Just a second. I'll give you the actual login.
We'll find you. We'll find you, Christy. We're going to include a description again at hangoutwithmaria.com, because we're going to be replaying this this interview there, and we can include all that information, all the links back to your site and to your Pinterest, but Significantly Social for now. So ladies, it was a pleasure highlighting one of our members, our Ladies Who Lunch members, Christy Brown, all the way from Florida today, talking about Pinterest and how to use it for your business. Thank you so much for all the valuable information, Christy. For those of you that are interested in joining the network, a few of the benefits are that you will be able to interact with women like Christy in our private Facebook group. You will have an online directory. You will have discount to live events. And you will also have access to monthly trainings with people like Christy, and just a little bit more detailed, so we'll be talking in more detail about how to grow your business using Pinterest, so more of a webinar format. And you also have an opportunity to be in our member spotlight profile. So if you would like to pick up an invitation, please accept my personal invitation at www.invitefrommaria.com. And for more information on LWL, visit lwlnetwork.com. Thank you so much, Christy. Would you like to say anything else to all of your Pinterest fans?
No, but if you find me on Pinterest, I would love to hear what you think about the content that we have there. We create a lot of stuff just for our Pinterest followers, so I'd love to get some feedback.
Thank you so much, Christy. And remember, everyone, keep dreaming, and keep dreaming with your eyes wide open. Bye for now.